Can video be the deciding factor in a political campaign? You bet it can. I'm George Sells, Director of Client Services and Content at Chemistry PR and Multimedia.
And I'm Chris Cuban, founder and CEO of Chemistry PR and Multimedia. We're glad to have you here on this episode of The Lab at the Chemistry Studios. We're going to talk about politics.
Let's talk about politics. We're turning on the TV and you're seeing more and more of the ads. They're picking up, and it's going to do nothing but get better or worse depending on your viewpoint as we get closer to November. But what we want to talk about today, Chris, is not just the political ads that you see on television. That's kind of the older crowd, but social media is becoming more and more of a ground, not only to advertise and to market in video, but also for a voter to find out more about candidates in maybe smaller races, because it's a little more affordable, and at the same time, it's a place where you can get your information out there real specifically to the people that you're trying to please.
I know you mentioned social media, but there's one more structure or one more arena that we haven't discussed yet.
OTT.
Which is OTT, which is getting very granular in being able to target individual households within a certain income bracket or families or certain vehicles. I mean, this is getting very specific. So if you're running a political campaign and you're wanting a message, and that message has to be important, before you even get to a video, what is your messaging? You develop that, and then you can super hyper focus that messaging on the specific individuals you want to target.
And this is a cost thing. If you're running for state representative, for example, you don't have a huge budget to go out and produce something super slick and then put it on the local network affiliates or whatever a lot of people do with, let's say, a U.S. Senate campaign or something like that. But what you can do is you can shoot a video that looks good, tells a great story, is smart, and then, like you said, take it to those granular places. OTT is not particularly expensive, so you could hit that very specific group of people. Same thing goes, for example, with Facebook boosting. We've seen a lot of that. You can go into all sorts of detail about the exact people you're trying to get to.
Well, and geo-target it to a specific area or zip code or neighborhood at sometimes.
So why video? Let's take one step back here, first of all. Video makes up 80%, maybe a little bit more than that, of the traffic traveling across the internet on any given day. The data, all the data, everywhere, 80% of it is video. That is clearly how people are communicating. That is clearly how people are receiving communication. And you can do things like the op-ed in the paper, and that's a good thing to do, because the people who read the op-eds in the paper are going to vote.
Or the letters to the editor.
Letters to the editor. Those people vote. But at the same time, how many people you're really hitting? And so you could do something with that. And I still think you should do that sort of thing as well. But you could also take that letter to the editor, go to the link on the newspaper website or whatever, and then put it onto your social media and boost it
to a target market,
and tie it with a piece of video, because it's catching people's eye. It's got them looking. So the story, that's the thing. It all comes down to a story. When we're doing messaging, we want to tell a great story. And whether you're running an issue campaign, whether you're running an individual campaign for a seat, you've got to find your story.
Well, definitely, and that's part of it. We all know positive things are important to get your message out and to look like you're a statesman or statesperson. But negative ads do work as well. So you want your story to be tied into, how are people going to remember you the quickest and remember you to want to vote for you? Or how can you negatively slander your opponent in the race?
No slander, that's illegal.
Yes, but how can you negatively portray the actions of your opponent? So there's a lot to digest here, but in reality, we have worked on a lot of ballot initiatives as well. In fact, just recently, we did 97 ballot initiatives within the state of Missouri, all different counties with all different ballot wording, and messaging was key to helping get the word out about that organization.
Exactly. And again, it's finding the great stories that are there, the compelling stories. I'm going to stay away from the negative portion right now, because I think that most smaller campaigns and smaller candidates really don't have yeah, they need to introduce themselves first. I mean, you're when you watch even the big U.S. Senate campaigns, the big presidential campaigns, the first ad is always the warm and fuzzy. Hi, I'm Joe, and I'm great, and you're gonna love me, and here's why, and here's what I stand for. Then they get into the mudslinging. Sometimes in more locally focused campaigns, you almost don't have time for the mudslinging.
But you really need the message first before
Yeah.
you start with the script. And that's key to any kind of campaign that you do, whether it's an advocacy or education campaign or a political campaign or a ballot initiative, is you really have to have that messaging down before you start any kind of consideration on text or context, for that matter.
So where do you find the message? Well, you start by asking a lot of questions of whether it's your candidate or the person running the organization that has the ballot issue out there. And going back to your favorite line, what's in it for me?
Absolutely.
And finding the what's in it for me stories that are
And we're not
within
talking about
that.
what's in it for me as the candidate or the ballot initiative.
As the
You're
voter.
talking about from the stakeholder point of view, the voter itself, what's in it for them. And you have to speak in that way. So it's a little different than pounding your chest and saying, I'm doing all this and I'm doing all this great. It's you have to talk in benefits for that end user to really connect.
In other words, it's not, I'm going to go to Jefferson City and I'm going to fight to cut taxes. It's, I'm going to go to Jefferson City and I'm going to fight to make sure that your trip to the grocery store is something your family can actually afford.
So now that we're talking about political communications, I mean, we all know that there's a lot of strategy behind what we do as communicators. And having a full video production team, it gets even more granular to where we actually set up when we finish the messaging component and we get to writing scripts, we can storyboard everything out very specifically with call sheets and shot sheets and have this done fairly quickly with the programs that we use. It's quite amazing at the technology that we use within our operating system here at Chemistry.
What it's done is it's made things work faster. It's like anything. Technology is a tool. AI is a big one, of course, but even things like the way video editing is done these days, the way cameras work these days, things are smaller, things work faster, things are a little more efficient, and all of these things make this a little more reachable. I think it's not like you go back 20 years ago, shooting a political ad was $100,000 project. And that's not the case. That's not the case anymore. You can spend $100,000 on a political ad. There's no question about that. But you can also do it for something that's within range of more budgets.
So for a company like Chemistry, we have a grip truck, which allows us the capabilities of putting our studio in a van and taking it out on location and doing a shoot for a candidate or a political referendum of some kind and doing a high quality video at a decent price.
And at a good location, because we can put anybody in a studio. You can put anybody in front of a green screen and let them stand there and talk. But getting into a location that kind of speaks to what the message is that they're trying to deliver, and who knows what that might be. That could be in a grocery store. That could be in a bathroom that they're refinishing.
Well,
that's
and
what we just
funny
did,
story.
actually. We just shot one in a bathroom.
We created a hook of she likes to fix things. And so she was tearing apart her bathroom, and we used that because she's remodeling her bathroom as a way to create that hook. She likes to fix things, and she wants to fix things in Jefferson City.
And that goes to, again, finding your story within the story. Talk to the candidate, talk to the person running the ballot initiative, and obviously talk to the people that they are going to be trying to move, and get an idea of what the things are that appeal to them, both in the what's in it for me space for the voter, but also find out about your candidate. We came up with that entire concept based on asking her the question, what do you like to do in your spare time? And her answer was, I like to do home improvement projects. Like, oh, you like to fix things. Well, there we go. And just like that, you find something that you can really move forward with and something that's relatable
Well,
to
and
people.
no AI is going to create that hook. So it
No.
has to have that human intervention. And there's a lot of politics going on these days, especially with the election coming up in November. And there's a lot of companies that do what we do. And I suggest that as a candidate or a proposition, you find the right company that works for your organization. Maybe it's an organization that has a lot of advocacy and education experience or political candidate experience. Those are the groups that you need to be having conversations with, not just one, but maybe two or three of them to find the right fit.
But at the end of the day, what you really need to be able to do is find your story, find your message, and that's something that you've got to really work on before you get into anything else. Once you've got that message, then get to work on telling a compelling story that gives the person that you're trying to influence, the group you're trying to influence, an idea of what they're going to benefit from if they vote for you or if they vote for your referendum.
Well, I think that's good. We've had a great conversation today. I know that we could talk about this all day and all night, probably, about political communications and what's coming up this election year. But here at the Chemistry Studio, the Chemistry Lab, we appreciate you joining us today, and we'd love to be your choice when you decide to hire a video production company for your next political shoot.
Let's tell a great story. I'm George Sells.
I'm Chris Cuban.
We'll see you soon.